The Disappearing Path of Ogirinya, an African mystery with a hint of magic and wisdom. In the hills beyond Ogirinya village, there was a footpath that only the elders spoke of. A path said to appear only when the land was dry and disappear once the first rains came. They called it the Path of the Ancestors. No one under the age of 50 had ever seen it. It was said to lead through the forest, behind the hills, past the whispering rocks, and into the unknown. Most people called it a myth, but not Onahi, a 17-year-old girl with the curiosity of 10 cats. She had heard the stories from her grandfather and believed every word. While her peers fetched firewood or practiced dances for the yam festival, Onahi spent her time drawing the hills, watching the wind patterns, and asking questions the elders often refused to answer. One Harmattan morning, as dry dust settled on every leaf and the sky looked pale and tired, Onahi saw something strange. There, behind the old baobab tree, a narrow path had appeared, reddish-brown, lined with unfamiliar footprints, and bordered by small white stones. Her heart beat faster. She dropped her basket of firewood and ran to fetch her grandfather. Excited, "Papa," she called. "The path is here, the one you told me about." Her grandfather, Pa Ondohemba, looked up from his mat. His eyes, old and tired, flickered with something close to fear, quietly. "You saw it?" he asked quietly. "Yes," she said. "Behind the baobab, it's real." He stood slowly, as if rising from a memory. They walked back together. The path was still there, glowing faintly under the weak morning sun. "Don't step on it," he warned. "Why not?" she whispered. "Because it doesn't just lead forward, it leads inward, to the truth. And the truth is not always easy." But Onahi was already staring at the path like someone called by a silent voice. That night, her grandfather sat her down. "I followed that path once," he said. "I was your age. It led me to the place where I met my spirit, the part of me that is not flesh. It asked me 3 questions. I answered 2. The third, I could not, so I returned." "What was the third question?" she asked. He shook his head. "If I told you, it wouldn't be your question, it would be mine, and that is not how the path works." The next morning, Onahi rose before the sun. She packed only a gourd of water, some roasted groundnuts, and a small charm her grandmother had left her before she passed. She stood at the mouth of the path, heart racing, and stepped forward. At first it felt like any footpath, narrow, shaded, with chirping birds and whispering leaves. Then the air shifted. She felt watched, not in a threatening way, but as if the trees themselves were witnesses. The path wound through tall grasses, crossed a dry stream, and led her to a clearing with 3 standing stones, shaped like crooked teeth. Behind the stones was a hut, small, round, thatched, silent. She approached it. Inside, there was no one, just a mat, a pot of cold soup, and a clay drum. She sat, waited. Then the drum beat. Dum, 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 dum. From behind the hut, a figure appeared, a woman, old but not frail. Her skin was dark like night bark, her eyes sharp like broken glass. "You came," the woman said. "I did." "Then let us begin." The woman did not ask Onahi her name, her village, or why she had come. She simply asked, "What do you fear when no one is looking?" Onahi blinked. She had expected a riddle or a chant. Not this, she thought, then said, "I fear that I am not enough, that my voice will echo but never be heard." The woman nodded. Then she asked, "What do you carry that does not belong to you?" Onahi looked down at her gourd, at her charm. "Nothing," she said, then paused. Maybe the doubt of others, they believe that I am only a girl." The woman smiled faintly. Then came the final question, thoughtful. "What would you do when your gift demands a price?" Onahi frowned, confused. What gift? The woman said nothing, only looked at her, and then, like mist, the woman vanished. The hut faded, the trees shifted, the sky cracked with the first sound of thunder in weeks. The rains were coming. Onahi turned to find the path, but it was no longer there. Instead, a river flowed where the trail had been, soft, whispering, guiding. She followed the river until she found herself at the base of a hill overlooking Ogirinya. The village was exactly as she left it, except now she was not the same. When she walked into the square, some gasped, surprised. "Where did you go?" Curious, "What happened?" "Your eyes look thoughtful, different." She only smiled. Later that evening, her grandfather found her under the baobab. "You answered all three," he said. "Yes," she replied, thoughtful. What would he do now? She looked at the sky where the first drops of rain danced, thoughtful. "I think I will teach others to listen to the voice inside them, not the loud ones outside, the voice that knows the path." Her grandfather smiled, content. "Then your gift has begun." In the years that followed, Onahi became a guide, not just to travelers but to seekers. Young girls came to her with questions. Boys who had grown tired of pretending they were always strong sat at her feet to learn stillness. Even elders came, ashamed to admit they had never dared walk the path. The path itself never returned, but no one needed it anymore, because the path had become her. Moral proverb: when you truly walk your path, the world follows your footsteps. Onahi's journey doesn't end here. It begins in others. Like, share, and follow if her story touched you.